Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy. We're here with Lauren from Survivor Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers.
Hi, Lauren. Thanks for speaking with us today.
Hey, how are you guys?
Doing good. What did you do to prepare yourself once you knew you were going to be on Survivor?
I really didn't do too much at all. My job every day is a physical job. More or less, I was mentally trying to prepare myself more than physical or anything else. I did kind of quit eating. Everybody, I think, ate a lot trying to put on weight, and I did the total opposite. I cut back and just ate very little to try to shrink my stomach to prepare for nothing.
We want to get your assessment of the remaining players and how you think they're doing in the game. Let's start with Ashley. What can you tell us about her?
I like Ashley. I think she's really kind-hearted, and so I don't know if that'll hurt her or not in the game, just because you could tell her to kind of vote this way and she would kind of, go that way. She really didn't voice her opinion too much until right there at the very end.
And what can you tell us about Chrissy?
Chrissy wasn't one of my favorite players. She really kind of got underneath my skin a little bit, just with her continuously talking and constantly, doing numbers, and she was just very opinionated.
What do you mean constantly doing numbers?
She never stopped talking about the game. She never stopped talking about past seasons and what's next, what challenge are we doing tomorrow, or what is this going to be. She never slept.
What about Devin?
I love Devin to death. I think he's a great person. He has a great spirit, and he was very trustworthy to me.
What about Ryan?
Ryan, he's a nice guy. He was actually very funny. We're both Carolina fans, Tar Heel fans, so we had a little bit in common. I didn't trust him as much as I did Devin, especially like in the beginning, but I didn't even really think that he was playing the game that much, and obviously he was. But he was okay.
And what about Dr. Mike? How do you think he's doing in the game?
Dr. Mike's a trip. You can't really ever take him seriously, so it made it kind of hard to always, involve Dr. Mike, because you didn't know if he was for real or if he was not for real. And I love him to death. He's hilarious. He kept us laughing and stuff at night when there was nothing else to do. But his gameplay he does some crazy things. Let's just put it that way.
Okay. Last but not least, what about Ben?
Ben, I think, he's playing a great game. He's in that military mode. And that is, he's got something in focus, and he's working to try to get to that goal. Which we all are. I don't have any hard feelings against Ben. He beat me, and Ben and I were really close. But in the back of my mind, and I'm going to assume in the back of his mind, we knew we could never sit together. One of us had to go, and unfortunately, it was me.
What were your reasons for choosing Ashley, Ben, and Devin for your Final Four alliance?
Well, Devin and Ashley, they really weren't playing a strong game. And I figured that Devin and Ashley being my final three, Ben being a very strong player, and Ben and I had built a good rapport when we actually had dropped buffs. And I liked Ben, and we kept a lot of things secretive together. We were good at challenges together, and eventually we could hopefully convince Ashley and Devin to vote Ben out.
How did you make the decision to flip on the alliance of 7 while Mike and Joe were still in the game, instead of targeting them at 7 with your new alliance of 4?
In reality, I should have kept. Me, Mike, and Joe should have really, stuck together, because nobody liked the two of them, and it would have been. I didn't have the numbers. Nobody really wanted to keep Mike and Joe. So when we split up, JP, I didn't have the numbers to keep Mike and Joe together. When I was trying to get Ben out, I could have used Ashley possibly, but Ashley was going with whatever Devin said. And Devin didn't want anything to do with it.
Well, congratulations on winning individual immunity and reward. How long was your last immunity challenge, and did you throw the challenge to get the idol?
No, I didn't. I actually have my right shoulder is I have a slight torn or tear in my bicep tendon, and my right shoulder ain't worth a flip. And it probably could be what I do for a living every day, but I stood there for as long as I could stand there. I'm not by far a quitter, and I've never have been, and I couldn't hold it any longer.
Did anyone ask questions about the shell you picked up?
Nobody said a word to me. I just kind of sat down and nonchalantly picked it up. I've always every day I'd walk the beach and pick up shells as exercise because, you're sitting there and your muscles and stuff get really weak. So I tried to stay moving. And so it was nothing out of the norm, the norm for me to stop, to pick up a shell. So nobody, if they did see me, would probably, think anything of it.
How did you feel about Devin letting Ashley have the immunity necklace, and at Tribal he confirmed the final 3 you were planning by not including Mike, in whom he'd give the necklace to?
Were you talking about when Ashley and Devin were at the challenge and going back and forth?
Yeah.
That was really odd to me. Like, I wouldn't have ever expected them to do that. But I think that Ashley was she kind of liked Devin on a different aspect. So, Devin pretty much could tell Ashley to jump off, the bridge, and she would probably do it. So I was really confused on why they did that, but I've never talked to them about it.
Did you really tear up the advantage, and if so, why did you destroy it?
No, I actually had it in my pocket, and once I let out that, I didn't have it and that, Chrissy, you can have it when we get back type deal, I was trying to calm Chrissy down and quit, hoping that she would stop having these thoughts about voting me out. And but once I went with it, I don't have it, I had to go with it. I didn't have it.
What were you feeling when Mike threw the half of your idol in the fire?
I was pretty dumbfounded. Like, I was in teetotal shock. I didn't even think about trying to even grab the shell until after the fact when I was laying there replaying this in my head. And when he did it, he could have given it to me. He could have done so many other things with it. And, even if I had got it out of the fire, who's to say Jeff would have let me play it. As for... I was in teetotal shock.
Why was everyone so confident that Ben did not have an idol?
He did a really good job of not nobody that knew. And I wondered, after he played it, before we actually see it on TV, I was wondering, did anyone know that they were voting me? Like, did I miss something somewhere? And then actually watching it last night, my suspicions were right. Nobody knew he had the idol, which is what everybody was saying. So I wasn't confident going in there by far, and really we had no clue.
What would have happened if all 6 had voted for Ben, but you had used the advantage to take Ben's vote? What would have happened?
If I had played my advantage, then I would have played it for Chrissy, and it would have been like 1 vote Lauren and 2 votes Chrissy.
Oh, okay.
Because Ben played his idol, so that would have, he was out the question. And then if I hadn't to give, old crazy Dr. Mike there, part of the idol to try to keep him close to me, then, Ben and I would have been, you couldn't have voted for us.
What else can you tell us about that crazy tribal council?
I can't believe Mike did that, and just trying to figure out the what ifs. And, I've played everything in my mind 1,000 and million times. And, I made 2 huge mistakes, and it cost me the game. I feel like if I hadn't have had just a couple little brain farts, then none of this would have happened. I could have at least got through that night.
It seemed like they were targeting you initially between Mike and Ryan, and then it flipped over to Ben, and we weren't clear. Did you have a better sense of how that all came to be?
I think... Devin, when, I didn't know that they were having a problem. When we left camp, it was all supposed to be Ben. And, again, nobody knew Ben had an idol. So there wasn't, nobody was talking about split votes. And when we got there, when, the commotion started, I knew right then that there was something up. And everything felt okay until Devin got up. And when Devin got up, I really realized that things were going south, that I had no clue that they were discussing, me or who it could have been. Now I see that Mike was trying to go with Chrissy and Ryan, which they would have had the votes if they had wrote my name down anyway.
What criteria will you use to decide who will get your vote for the money?
I pretty much, when looking at it and looking like at everybody's play and how I played, and just, how they socially worked with everybody, how they leave the game, because that's a big deal. The jury is your main focus. And I look at all the little things that make someone a great player. I can't hold any grudge against anybody because I don't, you never know who's going to be in that final 3 seats.
Was there anything you wish had been shown about you that didn't make it on air?
No, not really. I mean, I think they did a wonderful job of, there's a lot of things like, a few arguments and stuff like that we remember, and little things that they didn't show, but obviously, they can't show everything. Everything's pretty much on point. I mean, what you see is really what happened.
What's it been like watching the show play out with family and friends?
It's been quite comical because, everybody that knows me doesn't expect any different out of me. You never know what I'm going to say. Everybody's like, oh, well, you were grinning when you left. Well, it's a great experience. Yeah, it sucks that I'm done, but I'm going to walk away from this knowing that I did my best and that I couldn't ask of any more. Watching it with my family, my parents and stuff, they're super proud, and, just all the great remarks and stuff like that I've gotten, it's been awesome.
What did it mean to Sunny to get to meet Probst and be on the show?
Oh, well, you just thought she's crazy. I love her. I call her Sunny Too Funny. She was dumbfounded that she got to meet him, and she told me before she left, and she said, if you get me there, she was like, I'm going to hug you, but I'm going to hug him first. I'm like, no, you're not. And damn, she didn't do it.
How long did she get to visit?
I think they were there because I only got to see her for just a few minutes. I think they were there a couple of days or something like that. The challenge I wish was a little different. I wish that we had actually got to, compete. That would have really been the best thing, and that would have topped it all off for her to be able to say you participated in the challenge. So I was disappointed about that, but I still got to see her, and she still got to come and experience it. So it was great.
How's your view of Survivor changed after this experience?
Well, all the things that, people talk about that they think is fake, it's not. You're all for yourself. You have to fend for yourself. They don't help you. And I think it answers all the questions that, I always think about myself, like how do they get that, or how did that happen? And it's all very legit. It's actually, my everyday life, I feel like is Survivor because, like, today it's raining. It doesn't matter. And being out there, it's like a vacation. I enjoyed it. And if I had somewhere halfway decent to sleep, I would have stayed.
How has your view of yourself changed after this experience?
The view of myself is I've always tried to be a halfway good person, and going out there and being stripped of everything, it makes you realize what little bit you do have is a lot. It's a lot to some people. And I just came home with a higher appreciation of everything that I have and the people that are around me, because you never know. You go from 1 minute they're there and the next minute they're not, and you don't know what's going on. So it's a good feeling knowing that you gain something when you come back.
Well, Lauren, thank you for sharing with us today, and good luck to you.
Thank you.